What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we're going to do a bonus video this weekend, and I want to show you guys, they've been talking about the jobs numbers, and it actually came out and it looked good. I mean, the report was better than expected. And so there's still talk. Are we in a recession? Are we not in a recession? But our economy is still pretty strong when it comes down to the jobs. And we're also talking about the unemployment rate at 3.6%. So things are looking pretty good when it comes to the economy, believe it or not. Now, inflation, yes, inflation is rising. It continues to be a problem. But when we're looking at the big scheme of things, our economy is not doing bad. Okay, so at this point, I would say we're not in a recession, but we could quickly fall into a recession. So we're just going to have to follow that. But I do want to show you this clip. This is the White House senior advisor talking about the economy, Brian D. So he's going to be talking. So that's what we're going to focus on in this video. But first off, on this channel, we talk about money. We talk about the financial struggles that Americans are facing today. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so first off, we need to talk about what's going on globally, because I think when we're living in the U.S., we're focused only on the U.S. and we're not focused on the economies all around the world. And we all understand and we all saw the pandemic shut down the whole world, okay? And countries are suffering. Countries all over are suffering. Inflation is not just in the U.S. Inflation is all over. It's funny that I'm in Colombia right now, and I talk to people in Colombia, and they're feeling it. They're feeling it when they go get gas. Now, their gas is only $2, about $2, maybe $2.50 a gallon, compared to ours at an average of about $5. But to them, $2 or $2.50 is a lot of money. Okay, so people are feeling this all over the world, so it's not just the U.S. One thing that we can say when it comes to the U.S. is our economy, as far as jobs, looks really good. Okay, so we're gonna have to see how this all plays out. But right now, I mean, we hope that we don't fall into a recession. And the talk is that there is some signs that we'll see layoffs in the future when it comes to our jobs. And one thing that I do like to look at is the unemployment rate at 3.6%. That's good when it comes to benefits, when it comes to people on fixed income, people receiving Social Security benefits. This is good because that means that if you have a strong workforce, they're paying into that payroll tax. That payroll tax is what's going to benefit Social Security. So I want to take a look and listen to this clip, and then we'll talk about it on the other end. Here we go.
Director of the National Economic Council, Brian D. It's good to have you back on the show, Brian.
Brian, it's pretty confusing out there, man. You got 3.6% unemployment rate, which I was just saying earlier is half as much as it was in '84 when Reagan won 49 states with his Morning in America campaign on how great the economy is going. Wages up 5.1% year over year. A lot of really good things going on in a strong, resilient U.S. economy, especially when compared to the rest of the world. And yet Americans still feel like the country's going in the wrong direction. The economy's bad. Why?
Now, I do have a question for you guys. So in the comments, let me know, how do you guys feel about the economy right now? How do you feel things are going right now? Because obviously we're paying more. Everywhere we go, we're paying more. But when we're looking at the numbers that are coming out as far as employment, they're good. So I want to know in the comment section, let me know how you feel about that. If you're watching this as a premiere, let me know. So if you're watching it live in the chat, let me know how you feel about it, because I want to talk about this. I want to discuss this, because I would say the vast majority of the American people feel like things are really, really bad, and things are really, really bad. But when you look at our employment, when you look at businesses, some businesses are making record profits.
Well, it's good to be here. We reached an important milestone today, which is the American private sector has now recovered all of the jobs that were lost during the pandemic. We've got more people working today than ever in the history of the American economy. And as you say, that fast job recovery is not just good for the millions of people who have better jobs with higher wages. It's helped people rebuild their household balance sheets and make our economy more resilient to the global challenges that people are facing. And at the same time, the answer to your question question is people are dealing with higher prices. It's hitting them in places that they see in their daily lives, like at the gas pump. And that's why we are so focused, and this president is so focused on taking actions that we can to bring prices down. I would note in another piece of good news, gas prices are down about 25 cents over the last couple of weeks. Not down far enough, but we think that there's more room to bring them down. So we just got to keep working on bringing prices down, but also recognize that the strength of this labor market is historic, and it gives us historic strength in navigating the challenges we're facing.
So clearly, what any White House will do is look at where people are hurting. Obviously, inflation, gas prices, and you're trying to address that to the point that it can be controlled. Also, housing and rent prices. I mean, people are struggling, really feeling a lot of pain when it comes to actually having a place to live. How does that factor into what is happening with the economy?
Well, I think it's a great question, and housing is an incredibly large part of the typical person's budget, typical family's budget. You know, on the one hand, the incredible run-up in housing prices has been really important for the about 50% of Americans who own homes, a big source of increased wealth. The typical family that owns a home probably has $60,000 more in wealth as a result of that. That's a good thing, but those price increases also make it really difficult for people who are struggling to find affordable housing. It's why we are so focused right now on doing everything we can to build more supply of housing. The answer to this problem, which is decades in the making, is to address the chronic underinvestment in the supply of affordable housing, particularly in areas of the country where there's economic opportunity, but people are priced out of it because they can't afford homes. There's a lot that we can do with states, with local governments. This is a bipartisan issue, working closely with the Chamber of Commerce on this issue around the country to get more homes onto the market. That'll help bring prices down, create more economic opportunity.
Hey, Brian, good morning. Jonathan Lemire. Energy costs, of course, front of mind for so many, and that is going to be potentially addressed in the revived Build Back Better. I know we don't call it that anymore, but the revived president's legislation agenda that is currently being negotiated in Congress with Senator Manchin and others. Give us an update, if you will, as to how close that is to coming to fruition and what help could it provide.
Well, I'm not going to get into negotiations here. They're obviously ongoing. What I would say from an economic perspective is if you think about where we are, and to Joe's point, with the uncertainty that Americans are feeling, the single most constructive thing that Congress could do right now is to take concrete actions to lower prices that American families are facing and also lower the federal deficit, which would be complementary to what the Fed is trying to do. On the prices side, prescription drugs front and center of that. Another big part, along with housing in typical families' budgets, we could bring prices down in a way that actually reduces federal spending too by letting Medicare negotiate for prescription drug prices. We could also bring down utility bills while providing long-term, importantly, technology-neutral incentives for more clean energy investment, whether that's hydrogen or nuclear or carbon capture and sequestration or wind and solar. Those are pieces we're working on as well. But in the aggregate, the goal here is to provide some relief to families, bring prices down, and also bring down the deficit. That's the single most constructive thing that Congress could do right now, and we're working hard on it.
Okay, so that was Brian Deese talking about the plans to move forward with the economy, as well as this Build Back Better bill that they're focused on. And I'm telling you, the key to this bill is lowering prescription medication. You already have 50 Senate Democrats that are for that are on board for that. So move forward with that. Some of these other things you might not be able to get in the bill, but if you can lower prescription medication, that is going to help a lot of people. Now, I did have some people when I posted a video a couple of days ago, they were talking about prescription medication. They said, I don't have to pay anything when I get my medication. Well, you do have to pay when it comes to your premium. Okay, so that's what's paying for it. So if you might be in that situation where you don't have to pay anything. You can go get prescription medication and it doesn't cost you anything, but it does cost the insurer. Okay, and the insurer, they pass that cost on to you. They pass that cost on to you in a premium. Okay, so when it comes down to it, even if you're not paying a premium, you're not paying anything, you're still, the federal government is still paying. Okay, and if they're paying, that means less money for future benefits, right? So if you can get to a point where you lower prescription medication and the federal government doesn't have to pay as much and you don't have to pay as much, that's a win. That's a win all around. And so that's one of the things that they're talking about right now. I hope that this is the cornerstone, as he was talking about, this is like the main portion of this Build Back Better bill that they're trying to put together right now, lowering prescription medication. I hope they stick with that. And even if they can't get all this other stuff that they want to put into this bill, get a bill with lowering prescription medication, and I think that's still going to be a win. So I want to know what you guys think about all this, so let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.